Hi, welcome to Street Priest Ministries. I'm your host, Brother Jay, as we're taking the Gospels back to the streets. Today's drive-through message is Storm of Life, Christ-centered. I had done some teaching on Christ and the raging sea, and I'm trying to remember what was the title of it. Eye of the Storm, I think that was the title of it. And this one is titled Storm of Life, Christ-centered. The other one was, I believe it was Eye of the Storm. And you can learn a lot about yourself when you're going through these storms. I just recently came through a hurricane myself. With God's help and provision. One of His promises, He will never leave us nor forsake us. No matter what your storm is or what you're going through. And the tougher the saint, the tougher the storm. That's just a given. Who much is given is much required. So there's many faculties when you're dealing with God's Word that you should be focused on Christ, Christ-centered. That's the title of this message. You're going to have storms. You're going to have ups and downs. Before I even really entered the storm I was in, I had just taught recently, I believe it was on the wilderness, of God proving our faith, testing our faith. Excuse me. God is tried and true. He's going to come through like Sail's through every time. People let you down. Friends, they'll let you down. But Christ said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And a true testament of character for so-called friends and those around you that, or when you're going through your storm, how they react and behave is what. But God never fails. Unfortunately for me, I spend way too much time, because this is a passion, to get truth out, get the Word of God out. And a lot of times, I have not put forth the effort because my passion is so great for His work and paying bills, which is a necessity too. Now, I unfortunately had to shut it down briefly just to get the ship sailing again on course like it should be. I had to downsize on some things, rearrange some things, and pick up the slack in the workload, because I can't count on you to do what you're supposed to do. A lot of you have sat here and gotten fed from Street Priest Ministries and haven't given a dime. And unfortunately, a lot of truthers and people that are passionate as I am about getting truth out, you got a lot of conservative bloggers or conservative, independent, critical thinking journalists out there that's got their own sites and channels. Unfortunately, a lot of them crashed and burned and had to shut it down, dealing with what I'm dealing with. You're so passionate, you put so much time in, but nothing's coming out. There's no support. And that's unfortunate, because especially when you're dealing with so-called Christians that told you about how I feel about this. Most of them are just that. Either praying mantises or this. But they won't open their pocketbooks and wallets. And unfortunately, the prosperity pimps and New Age Balaam, Smiley, Sauls get all the money, and the real men of God, the real prophets, are like starving Mark. And it's sad. But see, God sees all. And His Word is a testament. This is not a message on giving. I got plenty of messages on that. But God said, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So God, for you to think and you mocking God, be not deceived. That's what the context is on giving. For the men of God that are truly putting God's word out, they unadulterated God's word, without the BS. And you're robbing where these ministries where you get your spiritual food from, the storehouse. That's what Malachi 3 was about. Will a man rob God? Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse. They meet in my house. Prove me now. Where you get your spiritual food. A lot of you spiritual blessed. You gotten fat off the street priest ministry. We got over 1,500 hours logged in on teaching alone. This ministry is going on 3 years. Worth of teaching. Some of you haven't given a dime. And it's sad, it's a shame. But God sees you. He's not mocking. I'm going to do my part. Like I said, I had to shut it down, do what I had to do, and I'm back in the saddle again. But you can't deceive God. You can't fool God. A lot of you have brought on, edged on. It was part of the reason the storm was there, financial storm. Because you're not doing your part. I'm doing my part. You're not doing your part. Well, anyway, I'm going to get into the teaching of the storm. Get all my teaching on giving. For you that is new to the ministry, I'm not talking to you. I teach Galatians 6. If you've been taught in spiritual things, no big deal to give material things, money, material things, gold, silver, whatever, material things. Alabaster box, tithes, first fruits belong to the Lord. I get my teaching on it. If you're new, you're a novice. The old timers, yeah. I heard this 1,000 times, and they still sitting on their duff. And it would take a crowbar to pry their wallet open to give a dollar. But God sees you. Now, let me get into the message. And each time you teach on a message and you grow, the message gets a little deeper and a little deeper into the spiritual things of God. Deep calleth unto deep, says the scripture. And as they heard, this is Matthew. Now, hold on, notice. Matthew 14, turn to Matthew 14. I'm going to do something else. All right, Matthew 14, 19. They had just had a spiritual powwow to give you the backdrop. Jesus just fed the 5,000 with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And now he's telling his disciples to get in the boat and go across the lake of Gethsemane, and I'll meet you over on the other side, or I'll catch up with you. Actually, he didn't even tell him that. He just told him what to do. So Jesus is setting a scenario for the miracle that they're about to experience. And as I taught before, they're in the permissive will of God. God told them Jesus is God in the flesh. It's part of the Godhead. He told them to get into the boat so that they were God's will. And now they're about to face a storm. Just because you're in a storm don't mean you're out of God's will. Now you have some immature, ignorant mockers that think you did, just like Job's buddies. He had his buddies around, sitting around. Job did everything right. It was a test from God. Satan asked permission to test him. God granted it to him. Job did everything right. Dotted his I's, crossed his T's. For as what you can do for as in the man-God relationship, not for his perfection. I'm talking, he's still a sinner. But he conducted himself upright with God for his offerings and eschewing from evil. And doing what he could do to please God for his being chaste, with his giving, with his servitude. And his friends mocked him. They said, surely you've done something, you're not perfect. Which he was. But he didn't do nothing to warn the calamities that came on him with loss of life of his children, loss of life with his cattle. He was a wealthy man. Job was like a billionaire in cattle and riches in his day. And also his health was attacked with the boils. And his slimy, grimy friends sat around. See, some people you don't want around you when you're going through a storm. Because all they're going to do is throw rocks at you and pile on and make the storm worse. You better to get by yourself and you and God work it out. You get away from those kind of negative friends, those spiritually blind friends. Those that are immature, to understand this is part of the trip, periodic. It's not going to be smooth sailing all the time, just like it isn't when you get on that ocean or sea and you get out there in that water. You stay out there long enough, you're going to encounter a storm. That's just natural. Cycle of things. Life's the same way. Now, they're in the permissive will of God. That's what I wanted to point it out. He told me to get in the boat. So we're going to pick up here. Matthew 14:22. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into the ship and to go before him unto the other side. Now, it looked like one of them would ask, how you going to get over here if we... Nobody bothered to ask. See, that's where a logician comes in. Well, how come? Well, you sitting in us? Well, how you got another boat somewhere? You don't see. How you gonna get over there to catch up with us, Jesus? And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into the ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away, sent the crowd away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into the mountain apart to pray. So Jesus left the disciples, and he's going to have fellowship with God the Father in heaven. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with the waves. In the middle of the sea, tossed to and fro. How many of you of late have been tossed to and fro? Raise your hand. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I just told you. God just brought me through a storm. He provided. And it was a miracle. And as you heard my teaching on the wilderness, I've stated many times, I'm the type of person that has a backup plan to the backup plan to the backup plan, just in case God don't come through. But in this situation, there was no backup plan to the backup plan to the backup plan. So God had to come through. Or I was figuratively dead in the water, you could say. The boat would have capsized. But God came through with a miracle. He provided. See, the difference between myself and a lot of these spiritual hot shots out there, they pretty much talk the talk but don't walk the walk. They don't really trust God. They really, a lot of them talk faith, but they really don't exercise it. A lot of you talk faith, but you don't really exercise it. You aren't out there where if God don't come through, you're figuratively dead. But you'll never grow in God and the things of God until you get beyond yourself. I've said that a million times. That's what faith is, beyond yourself. Faith is the evidence of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Excuse me, faith is the substance of things hoped for. I knew something was wrong. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. The hypostasis in the Greek. The evidence of things not seen. And that's what God is looking for. He's going to try and test our faith periodically. It's also a growth period and a stretching out. As you're going to see here. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea. Verse 24. Matthew 14:24. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. Now the ship they're in had rows. So they're rowing this boat with a contrary wind, with a wind that's in opposition to them. So as they row forward, two strokes, the wind is pushing them back 4 strokes. They're rowing into the wind. Now, I've been on boats quite a few times. And I've only been in bad weather, maybe once or twice as I can recall. But it's not a good feeling, because them water is, I'm talking on the ocean. I ain't a big fan of the sea or the ocean anyway. But you feel very small out there in that sea with the waves rolling, just put it like that. You really get close to God. You have your Jesus moment. When that boat is going up and down on big waves. You feel how small you are, and you can't see no land in sight. I've been there, done that. And this is what they've been airing up. They wasn't in a boat as big as mine that I was on, I guarantee you that. I say ship, this is a relatively small fishing boat vessel. Not that very, like a minnow. Not very big at all. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, approximately 3 in the morning, and in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a spirit," and they cried out for fear. Nothing wrong with that. It would have spooked me too. See Pastor Jesus walking on the sea, coming toward me. In a storm at that. It's not like he's walking on smooth water. He's walking on a raging sea. Picture that. So of course she would naturally think he was a ghost. But straightway Jesus spake unto him, saying, now this part I can't stand with the King James. I love them otherwise. Be of good cheer. Chip, chip, cheerio. Be of good cheer. Be of good courage. It is I. Be not afraid. This is God in the flesh comforting him. It is I. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if thou bid me to come unto thee, unto the water. Now he's already in the permissive will of God. But they all are. Because he told them to get into the ship in the first place. And go across on the other side and I'll meet you there. He didn't say how I'll meet you. Could have flew over there. Christ could have flapped like a bird and flew over there to him. But he decided to walk on the water. Either way, it's miraculous. They're experiencing a miracle. And he said, come. So now, Peter's in the double permissive will of God. He's getting out of the boat. Now, the boat represents security. Ain't too many of us would get out of a boat and try to walk on water. So you give Peter credit for that. I think I would have been with the rest of the disciples. I would have stayed back and watched this scene. See Brother Jay hopping over a boat in the storm to come to Jesus too soon. So I give him credit for that. That's why Peter, when it came down to the Pentecost, the opening of the church, Christ elected him to give the opening message for the church and for the Holy Spirit. Holy Ghost to fall. Baptize them in tongues. Say what you want about me. But he pressed into God closer than all the rest of them. And I taught on, give my teaching, rise and fall and rise of the Apostle Peter. He had a lot of courage. And he said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, it was represent security. He stretched out in faith. He's taking a risk. Even though Christ is there, still taking a risk. How many of you take a risk lately and stretched your faith? Because that's what the storm does. The storm is going to stretch your faith. Get you out of complacency. Get you out of security. Get you out of your comfort zone. And a lot of you haven't been stretched lately. You're pretty much buried in your burrow. And a squirrel gathering acorns in your little hole, your little cubby hole. You haven't stretched out in faith in years. But to grow in God and God's Word, you're going to have these periodic moments where you got to get out the boat and walk on water. Water represents insecurity, uncertainty. Go try walking on water. See how far you get. You got a pool in the backyard, go step out. And keep walking like you're going to walk. See how far you get. And Peter answered him, Verse Matthew 14:28. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if thou bid me to come under thee in the water. So now he got the double permissive will of God. The first permissive was to be out there on the sea in the first place with the storms raging. God sent them out into a raging sea, storming sea. So they're in the permissive will of God in the first place. Now he's in a double permissive will of God. By getting out of the boat, which represents security, his comfort zone. It's already in danger. Now he's in double danger. And he said, come. Then when Peter was come out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. And when he saw, pay close attention. We walk by faith, not by sight. Now he started out okay. He was walking by faith. He leaped out of that boat. He represented security, focused on Jesus, and was walking toward him. But, always pay attention to them buts in the Bible. Buts that get you in trouble. Buts, thens. Now, always pay close attention to these conjunctions. But when he saw the wind, boisterous. Now the wind was raging before he got out the boat. The wind was already blowing and huffing and puffing before he even stepped out of the boat. But when he saw the wind, boisterous, he was afraid and began to sink. God has given us a spirit of fear. And what's got you afraid? What got you out of the boat? And then you looked around and you did start to stretch out in faith, but you got scared. What made you afraid? But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and began to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. The shortest prayer in the Bible. He didn't make no long, stained glass, long-winded prayer. Lord, save me. Shortest prayer in the Bible. And immediately, pay close attention, and immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him. Now he caught him first before he rebuked him. O thou little faith, in the little Greek is O little faith man. Wherefore didst thou doubt? In the little is why did you double think? In the Greek. And when they would come into the ship, the wind ceased. The test was over. The storm was over. Periodically, you're going to get your faith tested. I'm going to get my faith tested. I'm not beyond it. Brother Jay's Pastor Street Priest Ministry is going to go through it. God just brought me through a storm. Victorious. Now, whatever you face in your storm could be sickness, illness, financial difficulty, IRS. Storm could be family. Keep your eyes focused on Jesus. Keep your rage in the middle of your raging storm. Focus on Christ. Be Christ-centered in your storm. It's a title. And he'll bring you through. He'll save you. We're more than conquerors in Christ Jesus. Even death can't conquer us. We just go, we get an express ticket to heaven. If we die, so the Bible says some die not obtaining the promise. Give my teaching on that. That's a video too. Not all of us. If you die, that's your ticket to heaven. You died in faith. Go out swinging. Trust in God. Whether it's healing, I'm the Lord that healeth thee. Jehovah, Rapha, I'm the Lord that provide. Jehovah Evil. If you are lost and need shepherding, you don't know where your way and lost your way. Jehovah, Rohi, Lord my shepherd. You got people condemning you, and especially these rock throwing saints. The Lord is my righteousness. Jehovah Skiskin. All these are names of God for his revelation for us that we can grab onto in faith. And you can go on and on. God's names he revealed can fit your circumstance. Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace. If you need peace in your life, you're in turmoil for whatever reason. Jesus said, peace be still, and rebuked the storm the first time. They went through a storm. This was the second time he was in a storm. First time Christ was asleep in the bottom of the boat like Jonah. He woke up and rebuked the winds. Said, peace be still. So God's in control of your storm. That's the point of this message. And sometimes you need to get out and stretch out in faith. Get beyond yourself. And that's a growing period, testing period. God's going to periodically test you. He wants us to grow. We are pilgrims and strangers on a journey now. All right, if I'm the one that taught you a year, some of you need to stretch out in faith and start doing that. You can test God there. Say, prove me that. Here will, said the Lord of hosts, Lord of armies. God open you the windows of heaven for you, the blessing you cannot contain. Part of your problem, some of you are cursed. With a curse because you ain't giving God's way. Busy robbing. Robbing street priest ministry, Brother Jim. God sees you. You're not the